Good morning, Councillor Deborah. To start the interview, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for your service to Marlborough and gifting your time to MFR Voice.
I'm Deborah Dalliessi. I'm standing for my second term as a councillor. I was born here in Marlborough. My mother's family was sixth generation in Marlborough. Her great-great-great-great-grandfather was Stephen Muller, and he was the first magistrate for Marlborough, and he established the first library here in Marlborough. So we have heavy roots in this region. Whereas my father, Bruno, was an Italian immigrant. So he came out here and he grew up here during the war. So we lost our language. We were very anglicized. I didn't hear it spoken, but he still felt that he had the right to be part of this community and that he had a lot to give. So he became New Zealand's youngest mayor of Picton at 29. And that's a record that he held for almost to about 4 years ago. So I was brought up with hearing what was going into our community, what the issues were from a very early age. So I love this region and I'm very proud to be representing it on council.
Thank you, Councillor. That was amazing. That's amazing history. What made you want to get involved in council decision making?
Well, really from my parents, I inherited a really deep sense of commitment to being part of a community and volunteering. So I saw my mother volunteer for Red Cross, for different organisations and Meals on Wheels. So I grew up with that, and I grew up seeing my father shape the future of Marlborough. So it's a little bit like if your dad's a plumber, you get to discuss what's happening with the pipes. So this really was my grounding and a sense of always having to give back. And if you want to make a difference for the people you love in the wider community, then you have to put your hand up and work hard for them. So I started on my first board at 30, and that was with the Somali Women's Sewing Program in Christchurch. From that, I got involved very much in the Chinese community, was studying traditional Chinese medicine, and through that, I started representing their interests. I've always found that if you have something that affects you and those people you care about, then you want to find a solution. Ultimately, when I had the time and I was semi-retired, I thought this is my time to really give back.
Thank you, Councillor. It was great to hear your thoughts on that. Amazing. What are the best aspects of being a councillor?
Well, one of the best aspects is it gives you a reason to speak to everybody from every walk of life. It's really important to understand what affects many people in a community. And you need to represent their views, and to do that you need to know their struggles and the opportunities that they want. So Marlborough is home to over 60 different nationalities. And as the former manager of the Marlborough Multicultural Centre, I've had the privilege of seeing firsthand the challenges and opportunities that many refugees and migrants, and also people that have relocated from other countries to Marlborough, have faced. So it's an honour to help shape the future of Marlborough for future generations to come, based on the contributions of our new immigrants and what they add to the rich fabric of our society here. And this, to share with them how they shape and bring their culture into a new Marlborough.
Thank you, Councillor. Really appreciate sharing on that perspective. Councillor, do you feel safe expressing your opinions as a public figure?
Most of the time, definitely yes. I check that my views are a true reflection of the people that I represent and the communities I'm involved with. So I do feel safe because it's their views. But there will always be people in council and in community that have different opinions and views than you do. So you do need to be very brave to stand by your choices and your beliefs, even if you may feel unpopular. But I have never felt unsafe in any way, in a physical sense. I'd also really like to encourage newcomers to Marlborough to participate in these elections. I want to really stress that, our political system here in New Zealand is different from perhaps where you came from, and we're persecuted for our views here. In fact, how you vote and who you support is utterly private to you, and there's no access to your records as to who you voted for, and your personal details and addresses cannot be shared. Not as a councillor, I can't access them, so we would never know what your opinion is when you vote. It is safe.
That's a great insight. Thank you, Councillor. If someone wants to get more involved in the council decision making, what would you recommend?
When you have communities of interest and you feel that you want to represent their views, I think volunteering is always the first step. If you volunteer and you're involved in your school fundraising, you get a feeling of the collective view. So council decision making isn't just about one person's view, it's about how it affects everyone. And if there are things that you are interested in that affect those that you love and those in your wider community, then I would suggest coming onto council in a committee role, not as an elected member immediately, but you can apply to sit on to come along to the elderly forum or to the youth groups, or if there is access and mobility issue, you can get involved and be asked to be a representative on these boards. Refugees and Migrants Advisory Group. We need the input of people that have lived experience of issues to be on our committees, and this is a really valuable way for you to get involved in council decisions. Also, speak to your elected councillors. They are there to represent your views. Unless we understand the struggles you are having or the opportunities that you want, we can't represent you. So it's about good communication and asking for information to be sent to you where it affects you.
Thank you, Councillor, for explaining that so clearly and different ways of going about it. If someone wants to stand for council in the future, how would you recommend they get started?
Again, volunteer. Get involved in different groups. Then you will understand the governance process. It's a matter of being at the table. And to do so, I really recommend come along to council meetings, come along to committee meetings. They are open to the public, and then you can see the process that we go through. And you can ask for explanations that you're right. If you really want to stand for council, understand your community, understand why they would want you there and what you can do for them. And then read, just read. Read what happens on the council, read what happens at other councils, and then be prepared to turn up and work hard.
Thank you, Councillor. That was really helpful. Now, last question. Any tips for first-time voters?
So when you're voting, if you need assistance on translation, please reach out or talk to other members in your community. The other thing, when you're voting, it asks you to rank people. So it is very important that you rank number one by the person that you think is most, one, trustworthy, who has integrity and will do the work, who has the financial knowledge to understand the written papers and financials, and also has the time to actually be present, not just at the council meetings, but in the community itself. So you want people that really have the time and dedication to commit to your and to earn your vote. But you also don't have to vote for all 16. There are only 7 seats. If there are only 2 people that you think would represent you, only vote 1, 2. You don't have to vote 1 to 7. In fact, that spreads the vote because it is a very big list of candidates. So I'd urge you just to vote 1 or 2 for those people you really want, and that gives them a better chance of getting in.
Thank you, Councillor, for those tips. Now that brings us to the end of our question. Councillor, any last word of encouragement?
Thank you, Becky, for the opportunity, because it is so important that we include newcomers and that they feel that they live here, they have the right, and it is safe for them to have their say on what happens in Marlborough. And I really encourage everyone that is now living here in Marlborough to please vote, because how you vote will make a difference.
Thank you, Councillor.